The world as we know it is about to vanish. Right now, at this very moment, the United States military is executing the most audacious and potentially catastrophic strategic maneuver in modern history. And what's terrifying is that most people have absolutely no idea what's coming. Imagine this. 2 American aircraft carriers, each valued at billions of dollars, loaded with over 150 fighter jets, are steaming toward Iranian waters as we speak. The final countdown has begun. 72 hours. That's all the time left before the most powerful naval force on Earth positions itself within striking distance of Tehran. But here's what they're not telling you. This isn't just about Iran anymore. Don't be under any illusion. What started as a Middle Eastern confrontation has just exploded into a full-blown transatlantic meltdown that's threatening to shatter the Western alliance from within. And the trigger? An island covered in ice that most Americans couldn't even locate on a map. Pay close attention to what I'm about to reveal, because the secret deals, the hidden betrayals, and the strategic blunders unfolding right now will determine whether we're heading toward a new world order or total global chaos. Let me lay out the unvarnished truth about what's actually happening on the global chessboard right now, and why the next 72 hours could rewrite the entire geopolitical landscape. The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group, a floating fortress of American military dominance, has been redirected from the South China Sea and is now racing toward the Persian Gulf. This isn't some routine patrol. This is a weapon of psychological warfare valued at over $4 billion, bristling with F-35C Lightning stealth fighters, FA-18 Super Hornet attack jets, and electronic warfare aircraft specifically designed to cripple enemy defenses before the first missile even launches. But here's where the story takes a dark turn. Military analysts are now reporting that a second carrier group, the USS George H.W. Bush, may be joining this armada. Imagine the sheer destructive capability. Nearly 200 state-of-the-art warplanes, all converging on a single target zone. The Pentagon is assembling the most concentrated naval strike force deployed against Iran in decades, and the clock is ticking down with terrifying precision. Now, why does this matter to you? Because what happens in the Persian Gulf doesn't stay in the Persian Gulf. Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz, the jugular vein of global energy supply, where 1/5 of the world's oil passes through daily. A single miscalculation, one stray missile, and you're looking at oil prices skyrocketing past $200 per barrel. Your gas tank, your grocery bill, your heating costs, everything gets obliterated by an economic shockwave that will ripple across every household in America. But wait, there's something even sinister unfolding behind the scenes. While the world's attention is laser-focused on these carrier movements, Iran just experienced what human rights organizations are calling a massacre of unprecedented scale. We're talking about death toll estimates ranging from 3,000 to potentially 20,000 protesters gunned down in the streets over the past 3 weeks. Let that sink in. 20,000 people. Security forces using heavy machine guns against unarmed civilians. Mass graves, morgues overflowing with bodies. The Iranian regime shut down the internet for 11 straight days, a digital blackout designed to hide the carnage from international eyes. And when the supreme leader finally broke his silence, he admitted several thousands were killed. When a dictator admits to several thousands, you know the real number is exponentially worse. Here's what the mainstream media isn't connecting. This wasn't just spontaneous unrest. Intelligence reports suggest that American and Israeli operatives had been building massive covert networks inside Iran for months, preparing for regime change. Think about it. The timing is too perfect. Protests explode across all 31 Iranian provinces simultaneously, every major city erupting at once. That's not organic. That's orchestrated chaos designed to topple a government from the inside while aircraft carriers close in from the outside. But then something went catastrophically wrong for Washington and Tel Aviv. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Intelligence Service, reportedly aided by Russian counter-surveillance technology, managed to identify and dismantle what's being described as the largest Western intelligence network ever embedded in the Islamic Republic. We're talking about operatives who had been in deep cover for years, completely compromised in a matter of days. The Israeli Mossad's crown jewel, their eyes and ears inside the Iranian power structure, has been ripped out by the roots. And now, with their covert options evaporating, the United States is being forced into overt military action. That's why the carriers are moving. That's why the 72-hour deadline matters. When you lose the shadow war, you have no choice but to fight in broad daylight. Now, here's where this story transforms from a regional conflict into an absolute global catastrophe that threatens to fracture the entire Western security architecture. While American naval power is positioning for a potential strike on Iran, President Donald Trump has just detonated a diplomatic nuclear bomb that's sending shockwaves through every NATO capital in Europe. His target? Greenland. Yes, that massive Arctic island that belongs to Denmark, one of America's oldest and most loyal allies. Trump hasn't just expressed interest in purchasing Greenland. He's threatened to impose devastating tariffs, starting at 10% and escalating to 25% on 8 NATO member states, including Denmark, Germany, France, and the United Kingdom, if they refuse to cooperate with his acquisition plans. We're talking about the President of the United States economically blackmailing America's own military allies in the middle of the most dangerous confrontation with Iran in a generation. Look very closely at what they're hiding here. This isn't about real estate. This is about rare earth minerals worth an estimated $10 trillion buried beneath Greenland's ice sheets. Resources that are absolutely critical for manufacturing everything from smartphones to guided missiles. Trump has reportedly offered Denmark $700 billion for the territory. But when you're sitting on $10 trillion in mineral wealth, that's an insult disguised as negotiation. But the real cunning here goes even deeper. European leaders have now figured out what this Greenland obsession is really about. Trump wants Europe dependent on American-controlled rare earth supplies. Right now, China dominates the global rare earth market. Whoever controls Greenland's minerals controls the future of advanced manufacturing and weapons production. This is about economic strangulation masquerading as a business deal. And the Europeans are absolutely furious. For the first time in 70 decades, senior officials in Brussels are openly questioning whether the NATO alliance, the bedrock of Western security since World War II, can survive this American president. France's Emmanuel Macron
refused to participate in Trump's proposed Board of Peace initiative. Germany has stated that any involvement requires compatibility with international law, diplomatic speak for "we don't trust you anymore." The strategic blunder here is staggering. At the exact moment when the United States needs a unified Western front to confront Iran, Trump has managed to alienate every single European capital that matters. An $800 billion economic support package for Ukraine, a deal that was supposed to be signed at the World Economic Forum in Davos this week, has been indefinitely shelved because European leaders are so disgusted by the Greenland threats that they refuse to stand on a stage with American officials and smile for the cameras. Think about the optics of this disaster. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky didn't even bother traveling to Davos because he knew there was no point. The prosperity plan meant to rebuild his war-torn nation has been sacrificed on the altar of Trump's Arctic land grab. But here's the part that should terrify every American. China and Russia are watching this transatlantic civil war with absolute glee. Chinese state media is now openly urging Europe to reassess its dependence on the United States and diversify its partnerships, code language for "come join our sphere of influence." Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has been working overtime, exploiting the rift by positioning Moscow as a more reliable partner than Washington. Watch very closely what happens next, because this is the exact scenario Beijing has been praying for. If Iran manages to sink or severely damage an American aircraft carrier, and make no mistake, they possess hypersonic missiles specifically designed for this purpose, it would be the greatest military humiliation for the United States since Vietnam. China has every incentive to quietly provide Iran with the targeting technology needed to make that nightmare a reality. Why? Because that carrier was originally stationed in the South China Sea as a deterrent against Chinese aggression toward Taiwan. If it gets taken out in the Persian Gulf, Beijing suddenly has a free hand in the Pacific. Taiwan becomes exponentially more vulnerable. The entire American military posture in Asia collapses. And here's the truly diabolical calculation that's unfolding. Some European nations are now privately hoping that the United States suffers a strategic defeat in Iran, not because they support Tehran, but because they want Trump so thoroughly humiliated that he abandons his Greenland extortion scheme and stops threatening European sovereignty. This is unprecedented. We're witnessing NATO allies actively rooting against American military success because the president has become a greater threat to European security than the adversaries he's supposed to be fighting. Meanwhile, Trump has just announced plans to cut approximately 200 American military positions from critical NATO command centers, including the Intelligence Fusion Center and the Special Operations Command. These aren't symbolic jobs. These are the nerve centers that coordinate alliance-wide military operations, intelligence sharing, and rapid response capabilities. At the exact moment when European anxiety about American commitment is at an all-time high, Trump is systematically withdrawing personnel from the very institutions designed to defend Europe. The symbolism is devastating, and the practical implications are even worse. So let's connect all these threads and understand what we're really looking at here. The United States is simultaneously fighting three separate wars: a looming military confrontation with Iran, an economic extortion campaign against its own allies, and a credibility crisis that's causing the entire Western security architecture to crumble in real time. Iran's leadership has issued explicit warnings. If Supreme Leader Khamenei is targeted, if the regime faces an existential threat, they will unleash retaliatory strikes more destructive than anything seen before, and they're specifically threatening American aircraft carriers. These aren't empty boasts. Iran has been preparing for asymmetric warfare against U.S. naval forces for 2 decades. They've got anti-ship ballistic missiles, swarms of suicide drones, and fast attack boats designed for one purpose: turning billion-dollar warships into underwater coffins. The coming days will decide the fate of the region, and possibly the fate of the entire post-World War II international order. If those carriers get hit, if American sailors start dying in large numbers, Trump will face enormous domestic pressure to launch a massive retaliation. But against what targets? Iran has dispersed its military infrastructure across the country. You can't win an asymmetric war with conventional strikes, and a ground invasion would look like a peaceful occupation by comparison. Meanwhile, Europe is rapidly calculating whether its future lies with a hostile, unpredictable Washington, or whether it's time to pursue genuine strategic autonomy, which inevitably means deeper engagement with China and Russia. The irony is suffocating. Trump's America First doctrine is actually pushing traditional American allies into the arms of America's greatest competitors. Don't be under any illusion about where this is heading. The 72-hour countdown isn't just about military positioning. It's a deadline for decisions that will reverberate for generations. Will NATO survive? Will the US-European alliance fracture beyond repair? Will Iran call America's bluff and strike first? Will China exploit the chaos to make its move on Taiwan? This is not just a move. This is a death warrant for the global order we've known since 1945. The world is watching the sole superpower simultaneously threatening its enemies and its friends, and nobody, not in Tehran, not in Beijing, not in Brussels, believes that America has a coherent strategy anymore. The clock is ticking, the carriers are moving, the alliances are fracturing, and the margin for error has shrunk to zero. What do you think will happen next? Will Trump's gambit pay off, or are we watching the beginning of American decline in real time? Drop your predictions in the comments. Hit that like button if you want more unfiltered geopolitical analysis that cuts through the mainstream media noise. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because what happens in the next 72 hours will determine the trajectory of the 21st century, and you need to stay ahead of the chaos. The inferno is coming. The question is whether anyone can stop it.